Hello and welcome to my video where I'm going to show you how to knit the honeycomb cable stitch. This symmetrical stitch is one of my favourites and I just love the 3D texture. You can use any yarn to knit this, but I personally think it looks best using a chunky or super chunky yarn. The first thing you need to do is cast on a multiple of 8 stitches. I used the long tail cast on, but you could use any method. You might notice that I've cast on 20 stitches, which isn't a multiple of 8, and that's because I've decided to add a garter stitch border on each side. Therefore, the first 2 and last 2 stitches of every row will be knit stitches and will form this garter stitch border. Whether you choose to add a border or not, you just need to keep in mind that the cable panel itself needs to be a multiple of 8 stitches wide. Okay, so for row 1, which represents the right side or the front of the knitting, you just need to knit all of the way across. Then for row 2, which represents the wrong side or the back of the knitting, you just need to purl all across the row. However, because I'm adding a garter stitch border, I need to begin by knitting 2 stitches. Then I purl until I've only got 2 stitches left. And then I knit those last 2 stitches. And then row 3 is the first cable row. So as usual, I knit 2 stitches for the border. Then for the next bit, you're going to need a cable needle. This could be a double pointed needle or a hook shape like I've got here. The diameter of your cable needle should be quite close to the diameter of the knitting needles you're using, but not larger. The first cable you need to make is a C4B or a 2/2 RC, depending on the labelling system you prefer. It sounds complicated, but all it means is you're passing 2 stitches over another 2 stitches to make a right leaning cable. So first, slip 2 stitches purlwise onto the cable needle. If you're using a hook cable needle like this, then make sure you use the shorter end to do this. Then position this cable needle at the back behind the needles. As you can see, it'll just float there in mid-air. Then just knit 2 stitches off the left-hand needle. And then knit the 2 stitches off the cable needle. This can be a bit awkward, but just use your cable needle in the same way as you would use your left-hand needle. And now you can see you've made a 2-stitch wide cable that leans to the right. You now need to make another cable, and this time it's a C4F or 2/2 LC. This means that you'll be crossing 2 stitches over another 2 stitches again, but this time the cable will lean to the left. So first, slip 2 stitches purlwise to the cable needle. Then position this cable needle at the front towards you. Knit 2 stitches off the left-hand needle. And then knit the 2 stitches off the cable needle. Again, using the cable needle in the same way as you would use the left-hand needle. Then leave the cable needle to one side. So now you've created a 2-stitch wide cable that leans to the left. And you just repeat this over and over. So slip 2 stitches purlwise onto the cable needle and leave it at the back. Then knit 2 from the left-hand needle and 2 from the cable needle. Then for the left cross, you slip 2 stitches purlwise onto the cable needle and leave it at the front. Then knit 2 from the left-hand needle and 2 from the cable needle. And so on until the end of the row. Of course, in my case, I need to knit the last 2 stitches for the border. Then row 4 is a purl row, and as usual I knit the first 2 and last 2 stitches for the border. Then row 5 is a knit row. Then row 6 is another purl row, again with the knit stitch border. And row 7 is another cable row. This time you need to start with a 2 over 2 left cross and then do a 2 over 2 right cross. So after the border stitches, you need to slip 2 stitches onto your cable needle and position it at the front. Then knit 2 stitches from the left hand needle and 2 stitches from the cable needle. And that's the left cross completed. Then for the right cross, you need to slip 2 stitches purlwise to the cable needle and keep it at the back. Then knit 2 stitches from the left hand needle and 2 stitches from the cable needle. And then you just repeat those 2 cables over and over. So that's a 2 over 2 left cross, and then do a 2 over 2 right cross. As usual, I knit the last 2 stitches. And finally, row 8 is just a purl row, again with border stitches at the beginning and end. And here is the result after one pattern repeat. As you can see, you've basically formed raised circles. And here you can see the result if you repeat that once more. And that's it. That's how you knit the honeycomb cable stitch. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you very much for watching.